Welcome back to Novel Idea. My name is Dia, and today we are going to talk about my June pile of possibilities. All right, so a couple of things that are going on in June that I plan to participate in are Summer Book Bingo being run by Tiffany over at Beautiful Minutia. I think this is the fourth summer that we've done this, and it's just been wonderful every single time. It just keeps me motivated for things to read and to pick up things that are outside of my comfort zone. June on the Range is happening, and I don't normally participate, but I happen to have a book that will work for that this year, and so I'm going to be participating in June on the Range. And then Shelley over at Shelley Swearingen is running historical fiction readathon during June. And I have a few books that will work for it, and so I plan to participate in that as well. So without further ado, let's get started. First one that I want to talk to you about is the one that will work for June on the Range, and that is Zane Grey's Riders of the Purple Sage. This is because my grandfather was a huge fan of Zane Grey, and this summer kind of marks his passing, and I wanted to do something to kind of honor his memory. So I've heard lots of good things about Riders of the Purple Sage. I do not expect to love this book or to make it a new favorite of all time or anything like that, but I want to do this in honor of my grandfather. And then Penny and Amy from Hearthridge both said that they would like to read this with me. So we have a group read, and then I think Amy added another friend of hers to the reading group as well. So it will be a buddy read 3 ways, and I am very excited to dip into something that my grandfather loved so much. Another one that I will be reading with Penny, she read Jim the Boy a month ago or 2 months ago, and I said, I love that book, and I have not read the sequel yet, so if you want to, we could read it together, and that is The Blue Star. And so Penny and I are going to buddy read The Blue Star together this month as well. I have 2 Penny buddy reads, and they're my very first 2 Penny buddy reads. This is a new book, and it is one that you'll see in an upcoming birthday haul video as well. But my daughter, for my birthday and for Mother's Day, got me a duology of books, and they are by A.S. Peterson. This is called The Fiddler's Green, and the other one is The Fiddler's Gun. But I thought, since I have Shelley's readathon that is historical fiction, which this could count for historical fiction, and this could count as historical fiction as well. This fits into that historical fiction category. It says, from the backwaters of Georgia to the taverns of Philadelphia, Finn Button is the talk of the colonies. The British say she's a pirate. The Americans call her a mutineer. The crew of the Rattlesnake call her the most unlikely of all, Captain. And so this is basically about a female pirate during the days of the American Revolution. My daughter heard a lot of good things about this, and A.S. Peterson is the brother of Andrew Peterson, whose books I have read and loved. And so I hope that he is as wonderful, if not more wonderful, than his brother, and that I really enjoy these books. Then Dave and Olive over at Book Blather and I have been planning to go on in the Tarzan series, and we've just had to keep pushing it and pushing, but Dave says this month it's a go for us. So we are going to be reading Jungle Tales of Tarzan, and I think this is book 6. So we'll be reading book 6 of the Jungle Tales of Tarzan in the month of June. I don't know if the rest of these are going to be read for sure. These ones are all for sure because they're buddy reads or they're for the readathons. But these are some more that I think I would like to pick up in June and more than likely will. I was talking with Tiffany the other day and we were bemoaning the fact that we haven't had a buddy read in a while. And so we talked about picking up this book by Sarah Orne Jewett, which is The Country of the Pointed Furs. This is short stories, and we talked about maybe doing a short story out of this in June and then maybe another one in July, or maybe finishing the book of short stories in July. But nonetheless, I think that I will read at least one of these in the month of June. Same thing with Still Meadow from Sugarbridge, or Anne Sugarbridge, sorry. And this is done in letters between Gladys Tabor and Barbara Webster. I've read this so far in April and in May, and I would like to continue in June with the June letters. I have a couple of science fiction books that I would like to read. Both of these also will be in that upcoming book haul, but this is the Doomsday book. This is by Connie Willis, and this was a gift also for my birthday, and this cover is absolutely fascinating. DNA, somebody that looks like they're from the past, and somebody that looks like they are maybe from another planet with a star crown. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but the person who gave it to me said that they really, really enjoyed it and thought that I would too. So looking forward to this. And then I picked this up. They ended up refunding my money because it was supposed to be hardback. And then on top of that, it was also not supposed to be an uncorrected proof, not for sale. This is The Seventh Voyage. This is by Stanislov Lem, and I have only read one other thing by Lem before. I thought that this might meet a few prompts for summer book bingo. It says, alone in his broken spaceship, there is no one to help. Titchy could remain trapped in space indefinitely. So Stanislav Lem published this first in 1920, and this is a 2017 edition. I have Betty Smith's Joy in the Morning. I love A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, and I believe it was Amy from Hearthridge that mentioned this book once, and I'm thinking that it was in a Kate Howe video where it was like the delights of life kind of thing, one of the things that bring us joy and that soften life a little bit. And she mentioned Betty Smith's Joy in the Morning. So I picked it up after hearing about it there, knowing how much I loved A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. So this one is set in 1927 and is the story of a young couple in the midst of early marriage. It takes place in the Midwest of America and is just about how beautiful those simple beginnings can be. So one of the squares on the bingo board, which I'm going to go over in a minute, but one of the squares on Summer Book Bingo is in fact the square Joyfull. And so this could go for that. Joy is in the title. I don't know. We'll see. It may not make me joyful, but this is Joyfull, a cookbook. I'm mainly wanting to just find a kind of her narrative in this book and just listen to her story a little bit. I'm just looking forward to reading some recipes and some stories. So one that I didn't mention because I don't own it, but it is Well of Ascension, and I will be reading that for the Mist Along. It's book 2 in the Mistborn trilogy, and we read The Final Empire last month, or in May, and then we'll be reading the Well of Ascension in June. Another one that I do not have a copy of that I will be reading, that is The Foxwife, picture. And I am supposed to be buddy reading this with Christy from Christy Lewis Dostoevsky in Space and Victoria from A Musical Bookworm. And my library has just had me on an incredibly long hold for it, and it finally is my turn. So I just picked it up last night, and I am ready to get started with it and hopefully catch up to Christy. So let's go over the bingo board really quick. A place that you would like to visit, a classic, a hot cover, books in a series, Joyfull, second chance, judge a book by its cover, nonfiction, graphic novel or manga, library book, over 500 pages, escapism, free square, booktube recommendation, keep putting it off, short story, friendship or found family, vacation or travel, cozy mystery, nature, science, sci-fi or fantasy, buzzy book, reread, new to you author, mentioned in another book. Every year for this, I've actually filled up 3 bingo boards. I kind of tend to do one a month. And I do this by reading whatever I want to and seeing if it fits in one of these spots. And I will try to remember to let you know where I put them as I read them. So for the historical fiction bingo board, we have a work of historical fiction with a speculative or magical realism element, a classic work of historical fiction, a work of historical fiction that's set in a different country than I am, a work of historical fiction set in a new to me historical time period, a work of historical fiction from the perspective of an ordinary person, and then one from an extraordinary person, a country that I am from, and a mystery or historical romance. I'm going to be back very soon with another video that is like books that I know would fit into these categories. So I'll do like books that you could read that would fit these categories. And then also do one for Summer Book Bingo and give you some other ideas of books that you could read for those 2 things. Lastly, I'm still participating in Chantel Reads All Day's Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, and I am doing the Doyle Path. And for June, it's supposed to be a science fiction or fantasy book. Either one of these would work for that. So there's my plans. Something here that maybe piqued your interest a little bit. I would love to know if you're participating in Summer Book Bingo or in Historical Fiction Readathon, or if you're doing the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, what your choice for the path that you're on would be. And then if there is something here that I mentioned that you would like to buddy read that I'm not already buddy reading, I would love to know that and have you join me for one of these reads. I would love that. That would be wonderful. So talk to me down in the comments, and otherwise I will see you again in another video very soon. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to. Bye everyone.